Who sent you? Huh? Who sent you? Before the foundations of all man-made mumbo jumbo, who sent you? Uh, you were the who with the who. You in the beginning were you, who with you, the you of the man. Hugh and man became one, huh? The hue and man became one. You were created before the foundations of those of you who know who you are. Let me start this party properly. My mind is God's mind. I'm always reflecting divine wisdom and divine intelligence. My brain symbolizes the capacity to think wisely and spiritually. God's ideas unfold within my mind in perfect sequence. I am always poised, balanced, serene, and calm because I know God has provided the perfect solution for every single one of my needs, no matter what solution I want it to be. Uh, no kind of man-made solution is good enough. Only the solutions that God have is good enough for me. Hmm? And he created the perfect solution with the codes that are in the light that gives life to all things on earth, the plasma. And through that light, he sent his son. And his son came with a message in every single language. You don't need to learn 10,000 language or the 1,500 languages or even create another language to understand and comprehend and understand what it is that the message that Christ left for you in the codex in your DNA. Huh? Now, once that light switches on, uh, you may have a language that you create for others to understand and comprehend and understand, but you won't have to learn a new language because you'll be able to give a language. And then your language may turn on a light for someone else, but that light is supposed to give them the ability to take what you created with your light to create their own language. Uh, because the code in their DNA will not match the light code in your DNA. So if they need to send messages to their descendants and ancestors, they got to teach them a whole different new, like, no, 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 no. That's not how it works. That's how the Tower of Babel was created in the first place. And Solomon's stinking temple with his whorish mama, uh, not Abigail, Bathsheba, the bath, legs wide open. Hmm? You have the Lion of Judah, uh, and then you have the baths that didn't take baths. Uh, People love to take their false narrative and that false story and their false history over there in the museum side. Oh, let me get back. Created the perfect solution for every single one of my needs. You say amen, I say God. You promise God is keeping his promises. You say Selah, I say God. You promise God is keeping his promises to me. I don't know about you. You may not even believe in God, but you will bow, trust and believe. You will get down on your knees and your tongue will confess that God is the one true living God above gods and that he sent his son. You're going to be a witness that his son came so that you may have the right to the tree of life, but you denied it, that you turned your back, that you accepted Elon's mark of the beast. Uh, Back to it. They take the museum side of the stories and run with it. Uh, I'm going to show you right now. I asked the question, I posed the question a week ago or a week or two ago. I said, ain't nobody noticed? Everybody talking wars, rumors, doing all this stuff. Every country got something to say. Everybody in the news, huh? Except for UK. UK quiet. Y'all ain't noticed that. You got Trump in the Federal Register, him, Doge, all these countries talking about this one voice. They finna come with one voice now. I told you, people looking for the term analogy, new world order, and one world order. I told you, because you are the living word, it's in the documents already that they were preparing for a one word order. Huh? A one word order. And with that one word, they need one voice to control that one word order. And that's the proclamations and the adjustments that they're doing to unify under this one voice. You could go, you don't have to believe what I'm saying. You could go to the Federal Register document, type in the word one voice, and find out for yourself. You could go to whitehouse.gov and see what it is Trump is saying about their one voice. Now they want to sing in one tone, huh? Well, only one of the countries that really had full control and was able to do that, uh, through scamming and scheming and being quiet and listening, not saying a word. That's the one you need to pay attention to. I told you all the diseases that's being released, the diseases right now, they're not under, you see all these different names, right? But they're under one word, Newcastle. Under the Newcastle. You looking for a new world order under the Newcastle, huh? So before I get to Bathsheba and tell you this story that people think Solomon came from a good, wholesome way of life. His mama was a scheming whore, huh? From her younger days. And David liked her and wanted her and lusted after her so much, he killed her husband. He was always killing these women husbands. Uh, Same thing he did with Abigail and Nabal. But I think they used poison because he couldn't literally, the contracts between heaven and earth and the line of Judah, when he found out it was a little too late. And the only reason why he killed Nabal is because he had a slick mouth. Hmm? And he didn't have the money and the kingdom the way Nabal and Abigail them kingdom was. Now Bathsheba, she didn't have nothing that he wanted except for her body. My body all over your body, baby. And he wanted her body so bad he killed her husband just because he wanted her body. Huh? And she was okay with that, huh? She was okay with that. She ain't had no problem with it. That's where Solomon come from. But the whole terminology of the word Bathsheba means the United Kingdom. No, but Sheba came from Africa. Elon Musk came from Africa. Elon Musk came from Africa, okay? anyways, yeah, so I'm going to go into reading this story, but I also want to do some coverage on what's going on in the Federal Register that is necessary and how it connects to my title, Mayday. For those who may have forgotten, I was telling y'all about the ancestral line that I come through. And each one of them, when they transition, it's always something major happens. Uh, it's something major happens coming in or going out. Something major happens. Hmm? Y'all brace yourselves. Huh? You brace yourselves. You brace yourselves for the next great transition that's about to shake the world. Now, because of this so-called alignment that they doing the extra and the most, because the alignment, the natural way of the alignment already happened. But all the extra that they doing the most with their technology and all that, huh? I'm gonna show you how it aligns. Anybody recall? You could go back through some of my videos. If you just go into the search bar, if you come into my YouTube and type in Grand Teton, and I kept talking about the Grand Teton, and I would have it scrolling about the Grand Teton of 1972, and how when that ship uh, came and left because that was a warning. And there's a part of the scripture that refers to, after that warning, the 50 some odd years of time that man will have from that warning. Some prophets and messengers predicted a little off here and there and said that the messengers that came through in 1973, or that was the last or the ending or the close off for the preparation before the final crisis. But the Grand Teton was it. And all that I kept talking about with the Grand Teton and Elon Musk and the CHIPS Act and the monetary system changing over, and and all my desires, the system would fall and the system is going to crumble and it's going to happen. I'm going to get a chance to see it happening. Federal workers and federal employees that kiss so much butt, they don't care about the people that they supposed to be helping. They put a false or facade that they're helping and caring, but they really don't. Mhm. I can't wait till he start going down the list of judges and families and oh, I'm not in agreement of what he's doing. I'm in agreement with what this word says, what the scripture says, and how the things that he is doing, Trump, the things that even Biden them did, the things that Elon Musk and his anti-crystal ways, the things that they are doing totally align with the scripture to the T. That's the part I love. Huh? That God is keeping his promise no matter how they try to take and twist the words and take a little here, put a little here, use this translation, use 10 different languages to give it to you. Talking about we giving you the Indo, Proto, Greek, Germanic, Arabic definition of one word. Tower of Babel. No matter how they tried to do that, he put a light code. He left a code for your DNA to be able to rightly divide the word of truth. All truths, you'll be able to see it and divide it properly so that you could be able to stand firm and make the right choice. Uh, Let me show you a video I did. Something happened to the sound. A video I did 2003. A little cartoon video I did of Elon Musk of me interviewing him, right? And what I thought about him in 2003. Look, I was trying to find something to put with it today. I said, nope, I got something better. All I got to do is go to Solomon. Remember when I told y'all the House of Solomon? They call it the what is called invisible school, something that everything that comes out of UK, it's out of UK that Elon attended or is a member of that school, that House of Solomon, where Bathsheba come out of. And again, Bathsheba means United Kingdom. And everybody keep focusing on a new world order, and ain't no new world order. It's the one word order against you, the living word. Hmm? And all the diseases that is about to just be, they've already unleashed and it's spreading rapidly. I said this a week and a half ago. It's not me saying it, it's written in their Federal Register, everything that they're going to do. Oh, yeah, you have some people really trying to make you feel like this is such a simulated movie and all that, huh? But when it's cold, huh, they wearing jackets, ain't it? If it's snowing, they out there walking in the snow. If it's raining, they playing in the puddles, but they want to talk about this stuff is just a movie. Hmm? I'm watching and listening to one of the elders separating the wheat from the tares. I'm not saying he's a positive, agreeable. Uh, that's listening. I say they falling for that. They falling for that. What he just he's separating the wheat from the tares, while the government doing the same thing. Uh, we gonna put it here in the register. They can't hold us accountable. Uh, Two people that transition recently, if you go to the Federal Register, their names Jasper, the reconstruction that they about to do in South Carolina that's going to be so devastating. The civil engineer program already got it set up the same way they did California. No, that ain't real. That's a simulation. That's well, you got these people right now trying to convince you that didn't happen, huh? I'm not saying, like boo hoo. I'm not talking like that. I'm just saying, huh? They not discriminating right now. They don't care about skin color, what native tribe you was in. Everything that they're doing is based on Reconstruction. And then here's Trump stood up recently, act like he don't know what Reconstruction means. What's the military school he went to growing up? He didn't even go to a regular public school. And he don't know what the word Reconstruction means. He said, I asked what Reconstruction means. See, Trump don't never lie, but he be trying to act like he's slow. What is it? Reconstruction. And now the civil engineering is going just like in all the prophecies. They're about to release terror through the bowls. They're using the water system through the bowls and the basins. Through the bowls and the basins. Flack is in regards to the basins, and Jasper is in regards to the bowl. So far, like I'm only concentrating on one bowl right now, and that's the South Carolina bowl. And I'm only using that as an example so that others can go when they get the opportunity to look at your area to make sure that either your area is in the clear or you may have to be in preparation for what they're about to do. Okay? Let's go to this first one. Let's go to this one right here. This first document look, the first word they got, defending American companies and innovators from overseas extortion and unfair fines and penalties. Who they talking about? Which innovators from overseas extortion and unfair fines and penalties? Defending American companies. Who is attacking American companies? Hmm? In hindsight, this looked like they talking about defending American companies. But when you scroll down in it, it's letting you know UKA being as quiet as they pretending to be. UK done sent they army brigades, they done sent they military forces all through the conscious communities and beyond to be a distraction. Or they pretending they have a Brit accent. But if they have that accent and then they coming from Africa, they are part of the descendants of Bathsheba. All skin folk ain't kinfolk. I know that with my own skin. Mm. So here in this document, unfair fines and penalties. The purpose in recent years, the gross domestic product of the United States digital economy alone. Are they talking about digital? Digital display. I told y'all what's going to happen. And there's a story about that somewhere, hmm, where the whole purpose of Elon keep talking about going into the fort to see the gold is so that when they get there and open it, if there ain't no gold there, and he could turn around and say, see, now what do y'all need me to do? They've been lying all this time. So we don't have the money to back up. We don't have the gold to back up the dollar. You're gonna do a whole magic trick, and the whole time the gold is gonna be right there. All they're gonna use is their 3D screen stealth screening capabilities. Ta-da! What do you need me to do? We have to immediately move into digital now. We can't wait until each company has over so many million bitcoins. We have enough right now since I depleted all of the government funding to the people who don't really do their jobs. We have enough right now. We're not paying no bills and no debts to no other country until we get this digital display going. Okay, you don't have to believe me. It's already written. It's already written. In recent years, the gross domestic product of the United States digital economy alone, driven by cutting edge American technology companies, has been bigger than the entire economy of Australia, Canada, and most members of the European Union. Instead of empowering their own workers and economies, foreign governments have increasingly exerted extraterritorial, that look just like extraterrestrial, authority over American companies, particularly in the technology sector, hindering these companies' success and appropriating revenues that should attribute to our nation's well being, not theirs. Beginning in 2019, several trading partners enacted digital services taxes, DSTs. You gonna need your real ID to get some digital taxes, digital taxation that could cost American companies billions of dollars, and that foreign government officials openly admit are designed to plunder American companies. Foreign countries have additionally adopted regulations governing digital services that are more burdensome and restrictive on United States companies than their own domestic companies. Additional foreign legal regimes limit cross border data flows, require American streaming services to fund local production, and charge network usage and internet termination fees. All of these measures violate American sovereignty and offshore American jobs, limit American companies' global competitiveness, and increase American operational costs while exposing their sensitive information to potentially hostile foreign regulators. My administration will not allow American companies and workers and American economic and national security interests to be compromised by one sided, anti competitive policies and practices of foreign governments. American businesses will no longer prop up failed foreign economies through extortive fines and taxes. What failed countries are they talking about? Policy. It is the policy of my administration that where a foreign government, through its tax or regulatory structure, imposes a fine, penalty, tax, or other burden that is discriminatory, disproportionate, or designed to transfer for significant funds of intellectual property from American companies to the foreign government or foreign governments favored domestic entities, my administration will act, imposing tariffs, and taking such other responsive actions necessary to mitigate their harm to the United States and repair any resulting imbalance. In taking such responsive action, my administration shall consider taxes imposed on United States companies by foreign governments, including those that discriminate against United States companies, regulations imposed on United States companies by foreign governments that could inhibit the growth or intended operation of the United States companies, enact policy or practice foreign government that could require United States company to jeopardize its intellectual property. You, each person, you as an individual being, you are the living word. You are the intellectual property. When they make the final call and you have to choose a side, you siding with the mark of the beast and under Bathsheba and under their one word order, under that one word and one voice, you become the intellectual property of the United States. Not only are you a patient under the CHIPS Act law for them to continue to do their research and development without being held accountable, but you become the intellectual property. Agencies responsible, but they're going to cancel and scratch that out too. Once they realize that a lot of people signed on to be their own intellectual property, more people are going to accept being the intellectual light of the kingdom of heaven than they could have even imagined. That's the beautiful part of the message spreading to all the world in this generation, and the time allotment that God has given an extension. They are going to be more surprised than they don't even have a system that can count how many individuals will be saved. So their balancing and budgeting is going to be way off. And that's where tribulation is going to kick in for those who are going to be left behind. The United States Trade Representative shall determine, in accordance with applicable law, whether to renew investigations under 301 of the Trade Act of 1974 and the DSTs. Now, here, France first on the list. Remember when I told you they sing YMCA in regard to honoring Napoleon and how they stand next to France and how they went and they did their bids. All of them sat in Notre Dame and did their bids. Everything that they putting on Front Street, they did that behind closed doors at Notre Dame. You have these media monkey puppets trying to make a big deal talking about Trump did an embarrassing thing. Trump, he wasn't embarrassing, and the French Trudeau Jr. Didn't feel no type of way. Napoleon bar to par, whatever, he didn't feel no type of way either. They already discussed this and played out the script when they went to Notre Dame. The United States Trade Representative shall determine, listen, even down to Zelensky. You think Sean Penn really was doing an interview Him and Sean Penn done went over how the acting is gonna go when and how he need to discuss his role since he's an actor before he come over here to meet Trump. That was already in the play because remember, Zelensky was there at Notre Dame too. All the stuff that they needed to discuss to stop the war, they couldn't do it when they was in a big cathedral. You mean they had to wait months? They couldn't sit there in the cathedral. You mean to tell me they was under the roof of a so-called holy temple, huh? A so-called of a cathedral, and they couldn't come to peace then when they was all meeting up, being unveiled by Mr. What's his name? Antichrist Elon? No, because they was there discussing how the rest of the play was gonna go. He shall further determine whether to pursue the panel of the United States or Mexico. Let me go back. France, Austria, Italy, Spain, Turkey, and the United Kingdom, which were initiated under my administration. See, y'all think a lot of this paperwork that Trump is filling out is new paperwork. All this paperwork is the same paperwork that he filled out the first time. And then Biden went behind and marked it out and scratched it out. And what he did is went back and redid it. That's it. That's it. And you can see that in a lot of these documents. See, he said we made an agreement in July 16, 2019 and June 5th, 2020. Mm. Biden them came along and scrabbled it out. If the United States Trade Representative determines to renew such investigations, he shall take all appropriate feasible action in responses to the, what do they call the DST? What does DST mean? Again, digital something taxes. If you're going to be paying digital taxes, that means you're going to be paying for everything with digital money, ain't it? If they about to go into digital taxes, so Canada and whether to investigate Canada's DST under Section 302 and making determinations, United States Trade Representative shall consult with the Secretary of Treasury when appropriate. The Secretary of Treasury, Secretary of Commerce, the United States Trade Representative shall jointly identify trade and other regulatory practices by other countries, including without limitation those described in Section 2 in this memorandum that discriminate against disproportionately affect or otherwise undermine the global competitiveness or intended operation of a United States company in the digital economy, and more generally, recommended to me appropriate actions to counter such practices under applicable authorities. The United States Trade Representative shall include the results of this review as part of the report required in Section 5C of the Presidential Memorandum of January 20th, 2025, America First Trade Policy, America First Trade Memorandum. The Secretary of Treasury and Secretary of Commerce and the United States Trade Representative shall investigate whether any act, policy, or practice of any country in the European Union or the United Kingdom has the effect of requiring incentivizing or using development of United States companies, products, or services in ways that undermine the freedom of speech and political engagement or otherwise moderate content, and recommend appropriate actions to counter such practices under applicable authorities. The United States Trade, you see right here, you see this section right here, they don't want to be shadow banned. Hmm? They don't want, it says, has the effect of requiring or incentivizing the use or development of United States companies, products, or services in ways to undermine freedom of speech and political engagement or otherwise moderate content. They got moderators out there ready while they raise their devil demon. Mm? Anyways, the fact that the UK is being the global tax deal, they got a global tax deal. The Organization of Economic Cooperation, Development, and Global Tax Deal. Digital taxation. I knew it was something when I seen Warren Buffett up there talking about his taxes, how he paid 800 billion. Did it say 800 billion? I think it said 800 billion. Let me not be misquoting. I think it said 800. I'm typing it in and look at billion in taxes. Did it say he paid 800 billion? Wait a minute. It's not coming up. Let me see. I was like, boy, Coca-Cola? Warren Buffett. Oh no, he only paid 5 billion in taxes and says if 800 other companies paid their share, no one else would have to pay a dime. Oh, that's what he said. That's what he said. Warren Buffett saying, look, if I paid 5 billion in taxes. All right, let's go to the next thing that's on the agenda. Again, I showed you and talked about the diseases, right? So right now, they targeting, like I said, they not having discrimination on anybody. Even the vegans can get it. If you want to eat healthy, see, this is the time that you need to pray over your food. When Jesus, or who was it, speaking to Peter or Paul, and he said, you can't say that nothing is bad, huh? That I made. Now, man done had their hand in it and had all kind of salmonella and digging up in their behind and touching your food and all the type of diseases and everything, pesticides and everything sprayed and all that, right? So now you really have to pray over your food before you eat it. Because if I thought, I told y'all when Elon said grow your own, everything he say is strategically laid out. He kind of slow and all that, but he when he could get the words out of his mouth, it's something about angelic that we stutter, huh? Oh, it took a long time for me to get over my stuttering, and I still do. If I think of some traumatic experience or I'm feeling some type of way emotionally, I can't hide it. It don't never mean I'm lying. Huh? I used to I was telling the truth until one day my dad, he said, I'm gonna tear your tail up. Bet you gonna stop that stuttering. You gonna talk to me straight. But every now and then you get anyways, Elon, he has it quite controlled. But he said, grow your own. Hmm? And all those who've been growing their own outside, acting like they doing something, it's the ones who got sense who've been growing in the greenhouses and ain't been buying that messed up soil. Hmm? Those the ones who really got sense, because if you pay attention to what's going on with what they spraying in the air and all the chemicals and all that, you ain't been wanting needing no rainwater to be coming down on your nicely fresh that you went out there and stood and dug and backhoed the soil and all that. I couldn't stand to see Dr. Inky going in with his shopping cart acting like he doing something extra healthy because you picking out a better fruit that said organic. You don't know exactly where it was grown, so you don't know exactly what they putting in there. So you're not doing your extensive research and development, especially when you picking up cans. What company made the cans? Are those cans or total aluminum? What chemicals are in those cans? What water source did they use? Did they use Flack River Basin pure water, or did they use the fecal matter recycled toilet water? I'm just saying. Unless you doing it hands on yourself, then nobody can judge nothing. Talk about they got more light for more pure food than anybody. I don't care what you eating unless you grew it yourself, and I don't care what source you get it from. It could be the highest ranking witchcraftery Oshun being who got a backyard swamp and picking the stuff with bare hands. The rain water and waters that is coming through the lands is infected. So only the love and light within your heart, the energy of love and light, is what is keeping some people healed. That sunlight that's already traveling through your veins. See this document right here? See that name right there? You go break it down. The Environmental Protection Agency. Let me show you what's on this list. Let's see what's on this list of foods that's being affected. You may be potentially affected by this section if you are agricultural producer, food manufacturer, or pesticide manufacturer. The following list of North American industrial classification system codes is not intended to be exhaustive, but rather provides a guide to help readers determine whether the document applies to them. Crop production, animal production, manufacturing, pesticides, all this stuff that last year I said, y'all go look, Federal Register, they saying they doing some stuff to the food. Boy, I thought I was doing good, just dealing with beans and rice. Come to find out some of the arsenic poison that's coming through the rice. I gotta make my way up there to go get my records. Because again, it's between the rice and the beans. It's between the rice and the beans. And when I eat the rice now too, that's the thing. When I eat the rice, my mind start going back to the trading between the Gullah Geechee, the Gullah Gullahs, all the way from North Carolina down the coast, all the way down to Jamaica and beyond. When they traded sponge for rice and they went back and forth, traded conch for rice, peas for rice, they just trading back and forth, right? And when they supposedly had them out there picking the rice and slaving them with the rice, and how the Chinese plant rice the same way that the Gullahs plant rice, that the same way the Mahatmas plant rice. But now a lot of the rice is plastic or contaminated. I didn't consider that. Even though I read this Federal Register document, I was like, oh yeah, I'll be safe with beans and rice because I rinse all my stuff. I rinse rice, I rinse beans, all the fruit get rinsed. And I ain't just talking about rinse it with the recycled contaminated water. I'm talking about salt rinses. So look at this now. And they go down and they do some explanations. They do some explanations. And look at the date of the document. Don't this ain't like something I'm just bringing up from last year. See, the 26th. A rule. It's a rule now. Let's go down. You see this? Let's look at the. I just want to pass it and get straight because I got a lot to talk about. Ooh, they trying to say it ain't no proof that in their studies that it affected the postnatal utero of the rat or the rabbit. Silly rabbit tricks are for the kids, and when they do their studies on rabbits and three blind mice, they do their studies to see if it'll affect humans too. So here they let you know all the chronic effects in their studies on the silly rabbits and the Mickey Mouses. All this time, y'all thought Mickey Mouse and Silly Rabbit was about esoteric, meaning when it was about is the studies we do on a silly rabbit is are you patient of the United States by 2025 under the CHIPS Act law, and all the studies we do on the Mickey Mouses is about you. It's not about a black face, white face. Didn't y'all listen to Dr. Martin Luther King? There will be a day where you will not be judged by the color of your skin, but by the content of your silly rabbit and your Mickey Mouses. Will it affect the in vitro? Will it affect the second generation of rats? Will you be here long enough? Will you last 1,000 years when Elon trying to take y'all to a Mars that don't exist? He gonna take you around the world. You gonna be in a ship thinking you done traveled out of space, and all they gonna do is land you right back at Yellowstone and Grand Canyon somewhere. That's all that is. Now it say based on a lack of evidence and that it won't affect humans, it affect the rats and the silly rabbits. Some of them get hunchback. Look at all the diseases and stuff that based on this right here, the cyprodenyl pesticide tolerance. They trying to attack the first Noels. What you talking about, Grandma? See right here, the Noels and the Lowells. The Noels and the Lowells. We don't want them to depart. We tried to put as much chemicals to keep them and mess with their minds, bodies, and souls as much as we could, and it did not have no effect. Some of the great grandmothers did get hunchback. They did get anemia. They got all this is the results of their studies. But now that the Noels did not get any effect, their departure is about to take place. Grandma, what is you talking about? Yeah, I'm gonna show you how the departure of the great Teton is on its way. Huh? Let's continue. Let me continue. Let me make this a little bit larger. I don't think y'all can see the screen that good. Let's make this a little bit larger. There is Noel right here. Once the pesticide's toxicological profile is determined, EPA identifies toxicological points of departure out of the pod and levels of concern to use in evaluating the risk posed to human exposure to the pesticides. For hazards that have been the threshold below was not no appreciable risk. The toxicological pod is used as a basis for derivation of reference value of risk assessments and on and on. Population adjusted dose. They went from the pod to the pad. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. They want to catch a tiger by its toe. Amount of risk, degree of risk. Risk all up in here. Risk, risk, risk. Come on, what are you talking about? 19 times 19. Huh? Huh? Departure and risk. I told y'all, even Trump, no matter what he's doing, he knows. He said, if you are a Christian, and every word term that I could say it without saying the true words, you don't have to worry about a thing. It'll be fixed. It'll be fine. You'll be right on up out of here. You don't have to worry. Just keep doing what you're doing if you don't want to be left behind with the weas, huh? And the nanes, huh? And the deans. What we eat in America, food for the gods. Uh, you be left behind, food for the gods. You don't want to be food for the gods. But that's what's going to happen. Livestock commodities. No, okay, let me break it. Let's keep it on a realistic level. We're not going to go, I'm not going to keep talking about the empirical empress, the supreme beings who waiting to pounce on you when you get left behind with them. Hmm? I'm going to come out of that and keep it on a realistic level. Let's now go to the spiritual level. Cancer, look at that. Based on the data summarized, EPA has concluded that cipronadil is not likely to be carcinogenic to humans, so it does not pose a cancer risk to humans because they did the studies on a silly wabbit. Tricks are for kids. Tricks are for goats. And we showed you what the goat is. The disease for the goats is the Newcastle disease, and it's spreading rapidly. Silly rabbit, tricks are for goats, and 3 blind Mickey Mouses. That's why they have come to the determination. But they gonna let you know what foods is gonna be affected. And if by any chance some of you who read this, we gonna put a little note in here for you that you can try cranberries to help fight off the effects. Grandma, what are you I'm telling you, it's in here. Look, look, look. Let me scroll down past those fruits and vegetables that you need to be making sure you clean properly and soak them. Somewhere I saw that it said uh cranberries. Where is it? Right before that. Condition of food such as the crop, chronic assessing tolerances. It's probably at the bottom somewhere. Residue. Where is it? Situations, highest observed conditions B and C. Drinking water, dietary exposure from drinking water. Okay, so the risk of drinking the water. These simulation models take into account data on physical and chemical and fate transport characteristics. They dealing with the water. I told you, fate transport characteristics. Why would fate, is it by fate or destiny? Is it by fate? We walk by fate and not by sight. Because your fate and transport characteristics, they documenting and doing studies about. And every kind of bottled water they have created, they have tested and did testing based on the water and the departures of the Red Sea. Goodness. Based on the pesticide flooded application model. I'm going to get to this flooded part right here. That's under the symbology of the name FLAC in the basin up there in Pennsylvania where they're supposed to be doing the injection. They're supposed to be doing an underground injection. This is coverage about that. And that injection is also going to affect the basin bowl, the bowl, the South Carolinian bowl. Okay. Let's go back. Let's read. I'm looking for that cranberry where they say the kind of in so many ways let you know. Non-occupational substances concerning the toxicity, the risk, the pyrimethamine, see that word right there? Pyrimethamine form. Oh boy. The methanol, meth is in the word. The agency has utilized this framework for cyprodenyl and determined that cyprodenyl, along with, there's the pyramid, the pyrimethamine form of a candidate CMG, support testable hypothesis for common mechanism action. Whew, this is deep. This is deep, deep, deep underwater. 10 times. They got a 10 times there. Safety factor for children. But then they go from the children right into the silly rabbit study. Again, prenatal and postnatal sensitivity. The 13th rib. I just had a dream about the ribs. Oh my goodness. I put it in my post, y'all. You can look at the time. How many hours ago? And past shadow hours, I dreamt about the ribs. You could go read the dream that I had. Now, I hadn't gone this far in this document. And this is my first time covering the document with you right now live. I like to do it like that. But past shower hours and my travels, ribs was a factor. So let me read this. Since prenatal and postnatal sensitivity, there was no evidence of increased pre or post uteral susceptibility in the development rat or rabbit studies in the two-generation reproduction study. In the rat developmental toxicity study, there were significantly lower mean fetal weights in the high dose group compared to controls, as well as significant increase in skeletal anomalies in the high dose group due to abnormal ossification. The skeletal anomalies variations were considered to be transient developmental delay that occurs secondary to the maternal toxicity. Reduced weight gain, and reduced food consumption. Note the high dose group. In the rabbit study, the only treatment related developmental effect was indication of increased incidence of a 13th rib at the maternally toxic doses. Signs of offspring effects in the rat second generation reproduction study included significantly lower F1, F2 pup weights in the high dose group during lactation, which continued to be lower than the controls post weaning after the pre mating period. Examination of F1 generation only. The offspring effects occurred at the same high dose levels at which the maternal toxicity, decreased body weight, was observed and were considered to be secondary to the maternal toxicity. The toxicity database for Denil is sufficient for full hazard evaluation, considered adequate to evaluate risk of infants and children. Do you know, the other day, I haven't been live for a few days, not this way, and I typed in the IVF, in vitro fertilization, um, companies that are connected to SpaceX, Elon Musk, the Mars Society, and Prime Minister Modi, and a few others, and how their request for human tissue, and the IVF treatments don't really have much to do with family unification in general as it does in the mass production of um, human fetuses that will be carried through these robotic situations that is something like the Matrix. All these things are being a part of preparation for this attempt to go to Mars for those who will be left behind with Elon and his mess. But back to it. So I still haven't found the thing that I saw. I must have saw it somewhere else. Neuropathy, observational battery and motor activity testing. How do you battery test? See, this is how they scam. They put in silly rats and rabbits here, but they literally studied on human beings for years. These are the results of studies on humans. All this is the results, and all this information is based around, remember I told you a lot of the toxins and these exposures, like this name here, this cyprodenil, it the people who manages it or who've been watching it and who've been doing the studies was China. China was the what do they call it, the representative for for the pesticide program. I'm going to say it again. I should show my face. China was the representative for these pesticide programs and studies. That's here in the Federal Register. I can't make it up. It's right here written in their tablets. Let me go over some of these vegetables and then move on. Fruits and vegetables in this document. If you're interested in finding out more about this document and what affects what you can do as an individual, you can actually go out and buy plants, an indoor what you call it, greenhouse. Okay, some of you who's like, well, I don't have the funds to do it, you can, I know you may not want to, but you can always order the pots because it's Walmart. They are part of the government, but you can always order the different, what you call it, that they have plants. There are a few plants that you can buy with your EBT. Plants and trees that you can buy with your EBT. And you can change out the soil if you wanted to or needed to. Okay? So this is just one of those plans just to get us through until the next stage. Some of you may be doing like I'm doing this. It's like hard for me. I've been trying once a week eat some meat, and it just seemed like everything that I look at has been bothering me to want to order or pick up. I'm just so close to that stage of just, I'd rather not eat anything. But then, like my grandmother always did, there it is. There's the cranberry. Specific information on studies received and the nature of adverse effects caused by cyprodenil, also known what as well as the non-observed adverse effect level NOEL, and the low observed adverse effect LOL from the toxicity studies can be found in a document, cyprodenil human health risk assessment, to support registration of the proposed new use of cranberry. New use of cranberry. So that's a hint right there. And here are the fruits and vegetables that's on the list. Y'all know it's been a lot of recalls of broccoli. You know, a lot of these seedless fruits and vegetables. Recently, there was what you call it on cucumbers. Something definitely is wrong with some of the carrots, and I can say that off of the organic, just off of the organic, because just this past weekend I made a meal for my family, and I call myself getting the organic carrots. And then I went in and switched it from the organic carrots, right? But they ended up bringing the organic carrots. And I looked at the carrots and I rinsed them, I scraped and did all that I know to do before I chopped up these carrots. And by the time the next day, when my family came to get the pot, I smelled it, but just something didn't smell right. And I'm very, very sure it was the carrots. Now that I'm looking at this. So these are the foods that they have on the list under this document. I know that the carrots, there was some, my grandson had got sick a month or two ago. Well, the whole school, there was some type of flu, stomach virus or something. So they say, and at the end of his little traumatic experience, at his first time experiencing vomiting, the last bit of what where he felt the relief, and y'all know how that is with vomiting, when it's whatever it is that is provoking it, it would be the last thing to come out. It was the carrots. I went and I was like, y'all, these little carrots here. I didn't have give him any carrots. And it was the whole school. Every time a little stomach virus passed through one of them little babies, it seemed like the whole. But I don't believe it was a virus. I believe it was they fed them those little baby carrots, and they don't rinse that stuff. They empty them right out the bag, more than likely. So this right here is a list. It says EPA assumed 100 PCT for all remaining commodities included in the chronic assessment. Almonds. There was a recall on apple juice recently. There was a recall on the almond milk recently. Definitely a recall on these things that come in the little market bags, the cut up broccoli and cauliflower and all that. Hey, the garlic. I was the week of that, I just had nothing but beans and rice. All I was using to season my food with was the garlic, chopping up raw garlic. So, oh boy, who knows, right? Who knows? Pray over your food and keep it moving, or try to find a way to start growing your own. And those who are so proud of having your garden outside, go ahead and get a coverage. Get a cover. If you about to start getting ready for the spring, um, those little greenhouses, they have some reasonable price greenhouses. Okay. All right. Next subject. I'm gonna stop for a second before I get to uh this new one. I want to read to you about Bathsheba, and how I was mentioning that Solomon is a Bathsheba means United Kingdom. Bathsheba is a symbol or symbology for United Kingdom. Okay. In his old age, King David was confined to his bed. But no matter how many blankets were heaped upon him, he was always cold. That's how I was between yesterday and today. Warm outside. It was nice and warm outside. The house isn't cold. but I'm cold to the bones. Like, y'all have been with me, and when I tell y'all how I experienced this, cold to the bones. Get up under the blanket. I put something else on top of me, still cold to the bones. Sometimes I liken that as I'm experience whatever it is that my grandmother is going through right now in her transition, where I want to be right now by her side. The cure for this, his aides told him, is to find a young virgin to be your concubine and nurse. She would lie in your arms and keep you warm. So they searched the country from one end to the other to find the most beautiful girl in all the land. Abishag from Shunham was finally selected. They brought her to the king, and she lay in his arms and warmed him, but he had no sexual relations with her. About that time, David's son, Adonijah, his mother was Haggith, decided to crown himself king in place of his aged father. So he hired chariots and drivers re- and recruited 50 men to run down the streets before him as royal footmen. Now, his father, King David, had never disciplined him at any time, not so much as by a single scolding. He was a very handsome man and was Absalom's younger brother. He took General Joab and Abiathar, the priest, into his confidence, and they agreed to help him become king. But among those who remained loyal to King David and refused to endorse Adonijah were the priest Zadok and Benaiah and prophet Nathan, Shimei, and David's army chiefs. So Shimei or Shimei and Rei and David's army priests. Adonijah went to En Rogel, where he sacrificed sheep, oxen, and fat young goats at the serpent stone. Now, y'all know the serpent stone isn't over there on the other side. That came later. They call themselves finding it later just to try to match up their story. But the serpent stone is over here. The serpent stone is over here. And now this is where you have skin folk doing stuff and thinking they helping and not realizing the effects or the after effects that it'll have, right? So Adonijah, they were of the line of Judah. They were of the line of Judah, just so you know. So even though he might have been unruly or whatever, and Zadok and all them, whatever they um race were, was feeling some type of way, they used witchcraft, deceit, and all. See, they didn't like Adonijah because he was flamboyant. All of the lines of Judah, Abigail, and Nabal, all of them were flamboyant and had wayward words, and they were very confident, slick mouths and stuff like that. Zadok them didn't want to be up under that kind of mouth, but it would have been better because you could see him coming to be up under serpentine violent, wicked, devil worshiping, demonic powers. So let's get to it. Then he summoned all of his brothers and other sons of King of David and the royal officials of Judah, requesting that they come to his coronation. But he didn't invite Nathan the prophet, Benaiah, Zadok, and the loyal army officers of his brother Solomon. Him and Solomon did not get along. Then Nathan the prophet went to Bathsheba, the United Kingdom, the mother of the United Kingdom, the horror of United Kingdom, even down to Solomon. God came to Solomon 3 times. He said, all that your father worked for. See, Adonijah might have been slick mouthed and very confident and all that, huh? But he wouldn't have lost the kingdom. He wouldn't have turned his back on God. The name Jah in his Adonai alone, he wouldn't have turned this from Jah, because Jah is you and Jah is you. And you are Jah. He wouldn't have. But Solomon, God gave him time out to say, look, Solomon, I'm talking to you. You think you the wisest. You want to be just like me. And you using 72 demons. I'm telling you now, you're going to lose all that your daddy worked for. He said, I don't care. That's Solomon. And people like to follow his script. I can't stand to see it, even in the holy tablets. Even in the holy tablets, because half of the stuff that he said was said so that he control. He had to say some of the so-called proverbs that he said in order to control 700 wives and 300 concubines. Don't you think? And to control all of the world under his mother's ancestral United Kingdom ways. The whore of Babylon? No. Back to it. You could be Solomon's temple if you want to. Elon Solomon temple. Yes, he is. Back to it. Nathan the prophet went to Bathsheba, Solomon's mother, and asked her, do you realize that Haggith's son, Adonijah, is now the king, and that our Lord David doesn't even know about it? If you want to save your own life and the life of your son Solomon, do exactly what I say. Now, Nathan flipped the script. Every prophet don't profit it a man. Okay? Nathan wasn't thinking about really her. He was thinking about himself. Mm. And he had read the books and he wanted to side with devils and demons. He didn't want none of what Judah had to offer. David had changed. Remember, David had changed his ways when he accepted Judah. He didn't want no more murder. He didn't want no more, even on his dying bed. They sent the girl and he just couldn't. No, it ain't had nothing to do with his age. He had accepted the love and light of the Lion of Judah. So here, David doesn't even know about it. If you want to save your own life and the life of your son Solomon, do exactly what I say. Go at once to King David and ask him, my Lord, did you promise that my son Solomon would be the next king and that he and would sit upon your throne? This is why Adonijah reigning. Then why is Adonijah reigning? And while you are still talking with him, I'll come and confirm everything you've said. So Bathsheba went to the king's bedroom. He was an old man now, and Abishag was caring for him. Bathsheba bowed low before him. What do you want? He asked her. She replied, my Lord, you vowed to me by the Lord your God that my son Solomon would be the next king and would sit upon your throne. But instead, Adonijah is the new king, and you don't even know about it. He was celebrated. He has celebrated his coronation by sacrificing oxen, fat goats, and many sheep, and has invited all your sons and Abithar, the priest, and General Joab, but he didn't invite Solomon. Now, when they did the sacrificing, then that sacrifice was them preparing the meat for the meals, having they roast out. So he got all this stuff ready for the barbecue for his coronation, and he didn't even invite Solomon. And now, my Lord, the king, all Israel is waiting for your decision as to whether Adonijah is the one you have chosen to succeed you. If you don't act, my son Solomon and I will be arrested and executed as criminals as soon as you are dead. Now, where she got that from? If Adonijah wanted to kill Solomon and her at any time, he could have did it at any time. All the brothers of Judah, of the line of Judah, and that he had, with all his cockiness in his ways and his slick mouth, he could have been did it. While she was speaking, the king's aides told him, Nathan the prophet is here to see you. So now here come Nathan. He want to make sure it's all going according to plan. Nathan Ballpark Franks, the Franks done come in and sit and put their hand to correct the king of the United States, They want to make sure it's all going to Franks trying to move in. You heard Trump, he said you can believe that if you want to. Nathan came in and bowed low before the king and asked, my Lord, have you appointed Adonijah to be the next king? Is he the one you have selected to sit upon your throne? Today he celebrated his coronation by sacrificing oxen and fat goats and many sheep, and has invited your sons to attend the festivities. He also invited General Joab and Abiathar, the priest, and they are feasting and drinking. They don't finish the barbecue. They feasting and drinking, and with him and shouting, "Long live King Adonijah!" But Zadok the priest and Benaiah and Solomon and I were not invited. Has this been done with your knowledge? For you haven't said a word as to which of your sons you have chosen to be the next king. David declares Solomon is king. Call Bathsheba, David says. So she came back and stood before the king. And the king vowed, as the Lord lives, who has rescued me from every danger, I decree that your son Solomon shall be the next king and shall sit upon my throne, just as I swore to you before the Lord God of Israel. Then Bathsheba bowed low before him again and exclaimed, "Oh, thank you, sir, my lord. The king live forever." Call Zadok the priest, and king ordered, and Nathan the prophet, and Benaiah. When they arrived, he said to them, "Take Solomon and my officers to Gihon. Solomon is to ride on my personal mule, and Zadok the priest and Nathan the prophet are to anoint him there as king of Israel. Then blow the trumpets and shout, 'Long live King Solomon.' When you bring him back here, place him upon my throne as the new king. And for I have appointed him king of Israel and Judah." "Amen. Praise God," replied Benaiah, and added, "May the Lord be with Solomon as he has been with you, and may God make Solomon reign even greater than yours." So Zadok the priest, Nathan the prophet, and Benaiah and David's bodyguard took Solomon to Gihon, riding on King David's own mule. At Gihon, Zadok took a flask. Here's the flask. Took the flask of sacred oil from the tabernacle and poured it over him, over Solomon. And the trumpets were blown, and all the people shouted, "Long live King Solomon." Then they all returned with him to Jerusalem, making a joyous and noisy celebration along the way. Adonijah and his guests heard the commotion, shouting just as they were finishing their banquet. "What's going on?" Joab demanded. "Why is the city in such an uproar? And why is he still speaking?" Jonathan, the son of Abithar, the priest, rushed in. "Come in," Adonijah said to him, "for you are a good man. You must have good news. O Lord, King David has declared Solomon as king." Jonathan shouted. Benaiah proceeded by the king's own bodyguard, and he rode on the king's own mule. And Zadok and Nathan have anointed him the new king. They have just returned, and the whole city is celebrating and rejoicing. That's what all the noise is. Solomon is sitting on the throne, and all the people are congratulating King David, saying, "May God bless you even more than through Solomon than he has blessed you personally. May God make Solomon reign even greater than yours." And the king is lying in bed, acknowledging their blessings. He is saying, "Blessed be the Lord God of Israel, who has selected one of my sons to sit upon my throne, and while I am still alive to see it." Now, you see there, this way he came out of his own mind, because God didn't select Solomon. God never selected Solomon. Nowhere you see in this scripture, even when he was lusting after Bathsheba, taking a bath in some muddy water, not once did you see God made a promise. He made a promise to her in lust. He made a promise to her when she probably halfway lost her mind after losing her first child they had together. But nowhere did you see God chose Solomon. And when God chose Solomon, he doggone sure wasn't down with him and his 700 wives and 300 concubines and all the proverbs that he had to use to keep them in place. Then Adonijah and his guests jumped up from the banquet table and fled in panic, for they were fearful for their lives. Adonijah rushed into the tabernacle and caught a hold of the horns of the sacred altar. When the word reached Solomon, that Adonijah was claiming sanctuary of the tabernacle and pleading for clemency, Solomon replied, "If he behaves himself, he will not be harmed, but if he does not, he shall die." So King Solomon summoned him, and they brought him down from the altar. And he came and bowed before the king. And then Solomon curtly dismissed him, said, "Go on home," he said. So now you see, they go Amasa. You see how Judah lost the kingdom and it became United Kingdom through the Shebas. Okay? That story, Queen of Sheba, that they got all turned up and twisted, that ain't how the story go. And if you read the study to show thyself approved, you'll understand it more and more. So now, why, Grandma, are you referring to United Kingdom in such a way? So I want you to look at this document and see the date that I have here. And I put this date in today of the 28th because according to them, that is when the alignment that they have adjusted and simulated and worked with to match in accordance to the frequencies and everything that they are releasing. That's when they have the alignment coming apart. They calling it a parade. Everything they do, it got to be a parade, huh? Well, when I typed in the date, here's a couple of things that pops up. This one expires on the 28th, and it is proposed data collection submitted for public comment and recommendations from the Centers of Disease Control Prevention. Diseases that was released, compensational programs from way back in 2000, and all other types of goodies is in this reconstruction. Look at it. Look at the word. I'm not going to click this one. You just propose project, EEOIC, that's EOPA, dose reconstruction. Then you have this one, expiration date 2028. All of this is them when they will release all of the stuff that they have been speaking about for the past year. Proposed project generic clearance. Expiration date. When did they start working on this? Where's the date? They put it in the registry on around Thanksgiving of last year. Toxic substances and disease registration. Every disease, including the Newcastle disease, is going to be released at full effect at the end of the alignment. Then here they have the day ahead. The day ahead, that's the day before. The day before. Ansil. The day before. Whatever it is that they're doing the day before is here. Federal energy regulations. I'm wait till I get to the one that I really want to talk about. Remember that I told you about the transmission line. Now this one have several dates. Here's the whole tech. Palisades, METC. See the date to be effective, affecting Gaia or Gaia. Gaia is another term for Gaia. Remember, I told you the transmission line was the 10 West. The beginning of it was the 10 West. On this side of the grid, we have um, grid power 10 through 6. 1 through 5 is on the other side of the earth. The release and the fires that happen through the sensors that were placed out in the Pacific Ocean was the initiation of the 10 West transmission reconstruction line. And the next one, or reconstruction affiliation to the transmission line, is the 9th and 8th. The 9 West is there near Yellowstone Park. I went over that in it's in the federal documents. So I don't have to open this up because I went through this before, but why they have this date here next to these words here, including Gia's second revolution and part of the reconstruction of the Mid-Atlantic Interstate. What I do when I read these things is pray and send up my prayers that something blocks and stop the winds. It's not just me. I'm not the only one praying for things like this to be halted and put down. It's 144,000 beings that is helping slow down. If it wasn't for time, does the scripture say? If the days weren't shortened, everything would already done started exploding. And the days are getting so short right now, especially for my grandmother. Notice of intent. These is where they're dealing with the bowls again, the flask and the bowls. But you see this date right here? Let me show you. You see the 2/28/2025? Well, you see this word in here? How many of you remember when I kept talking about the Grand Teton? Yeah, no, the Grand Teton is just that area over there is such and such and such. No, it's not. Not based on the alignment date here. So the transition into simulations is going to happen. See the entertainment? You could type in Grand Teton 1972. I'm not going to go back over it. But see the bathhouse company, I told you they're working on and with and through, everything is through water. Then they have this next document here. Here is New England Power, a methodology transfer capability, and that's based on that cool frequency that Elon Musk was able to access through federal communications. Now, you don't believe that? Just these words here alone: Tri State Generation and Transmission Association. The date, they filed it on the 24th, right? But see the effective date? How come this isn't one of the things that was pulled from the file? These are one of those paperworks that Trump worked on before he left, that what's his name couldn't change. Biden's Kamala Obama Barack Biden administration could not change. This the stuff all them was in agreement with. They say, yeah, we could leave that one. So see the date, see the file date. The Great Lakes, told you they're working through the waters. They're about to pump, doing it's called a underground injection into all of the basins. And so it's going to affect the bowls. That's going to help in their reconstruction. So, you know, the rain that South America usually gets, that has made their jungles as flourishable and their land as flourishable as it has, that's the type of rain season that we're about to move into. Huh? These April showers, they haven't seen rain like this, and that's about to come, because they have prepared the way for it. And according to all that was written in prophecy, the alignments and all that, that was predicted thousands of years ago. And through all the prophets that wrote about these days and times, the shift that the earth took happened. So the weather patterns that we're experiencing is because of that great shift. And what happens in the predictions about the shift that took place this year and the alignment, the 144,000 year, no, 1,000 days within the beginning, the initiation of the total alignment of the bodies of earth and all of its forms. See, they telling y'all bits and pieces of lies that the body total, all the planets aligning, is a common thing, and it is not. The magnetism and the force of earth standing in a mirror, aligned with all of its bodies from past, present, and future into the sun, is going to cause a great shift. This is not a common thing. And because none of the people who are in your science communities and those high places and all of their man made formats lived or traveled through time or experienced it, they are thinking that the things that happened didn't really truly happen. That the prophets mention or what they find on the walls. Uh, they don't believe in heaven and spirituality and um, They just believe in science, like Elon Musk. They don't believe in God. So when they don't believe in God, they don't believe in the prophets. They don't believe in God. They don't believe in spiritual wickedness in high places and the wars between heaven and earth. Everything else is a conspiracy to them. So let's see, said the blind man. Here's another date: environmental protection, December 11th, toxic release inventory. And do they have the, okay, so toxic release happened here. And then they have one for the 21st of March. February 10th already happened. March 21st. Heat transfer fluid, sulfur scavenger. Sulfur scavenger. Wow. Sulfur trimmer of hexafluoropropene. Alkyl ester salt. Where's the date here? Do we have the 28th on here? Nope. That's January 28th. Let's see if we have February 28th here. So far, I just covered everything that is for February 28th. Everything else is just a given. They have it here. It does mean something, but it was not my focus. My focus was specifically for February 28th and the end of the extra that they did for the simulation of the alignment of the parade of planets. Benchmark 2026 enterprise housing goals. Do they have the 28th here? Oh, benchmark. U.S. trade services. 5-year ending period. Spearmint oil handling. Do they have the 28th? Nope. Native allotment percentage. Lobby and civil monetary. Silver monetary penalties. Okay. That's that. So I just went over 4 significant documents in regards to February 28th. Now let me go back over here because there's one more document that I thought was important. Is it out of the proposed rules? Nope, it should be in the rules. Let's go to the rules. Is it in the rules? Dominant postal products, Virginia underground injection. This is what I was talking about earlier. So I already covered that, and I already covered this. Okay. I got sleepy, and I'm about done. I had another scripture that I was going to read. And what scripture was that? And it had, I think it had to do with the bowls and the basins. I have it folded somewhere. Where did I put it? I read First Kings, and then I think it's here, Isaiah, the future redeemer. I have this folded. Cool waters. Yeah, I'm going to read this. I'm going to close out. Give me 1 second, and I'm going to close out with the future redeemer. The future redeemer. Just encouragement. It's encouragement for you, okay? Encouragement. Oh, wait a minute. No, no, no. I'll leave Elon alone for now. Okay, listen to me. Listen to me. This is Isaiah 49, and it says, "Listen to me. Listen to me, all of you in far off lands. The Lord called me before my birth." Don't I tell y'all that every day? Every time I come on here, before the foundations of my mother's womb, God called me. He knew me by my name before my mother even could speak. And then when she was able to learn and become educated by man-made words, she was given my name in her thought, and she thought that she gave me the name, but my name existed before the foundations of all man-made things. God called me by my name. I was a word with Him before the foundations of earth. Listen to me, all of you in far off lands. The Lord called me before my birth. You too. From within the womb, He called me by my name. God will make my words of judgment sharp as swords. He has hidden me in the shadow of His hand. Uh, he has hidden me, y'all. I've been hidden. Mm. I am like a sharp arrow in His quiver. He said to me, "You are my servant, Prince of power with God, and you shall bring me glory." I replied, "But my work for them seems all in vain." I asked that all the time. I used to ask that. How we grew up singing that song, Clark Sisters, "Is my living in vain? Is my speaking in vain? All that I went through, God, that's in vain? Uh, is my living in vain?" Hmm? I spent my strength for them without a response. without a response. A lot of them said, yeah, shook their head and went the other way. No responses. Not the response that I was requiring and asking in need of. And you said, don't worry about it. It's not in vain. They did just what I needed them to do. Their steps were ordered just like yours. They did exactly what you I needed them to do for you to continue doing what you are doing. Uh, Yet I leave it all with God for my reward. And now, said the Lord who formed me from my mother's womb, to serve him who commissioned me to restore to him his people Israel, who has given me the strength to perform this task and honored me for doing it. You don't have to see the honor and the glory, huh? But my grandmother see it and saw it, huh? I can't even mention the precious moments right now. You shall do more than restore Israel to me. I will make you a light to the nations of the world to bring my salvation to them. When I transition, I know I'm going to transition as a great ball of fire, uh, a light. Uh-huh. The Lord, the Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel, says to the one who is despised, rejected by mankind, and kept beneath the heels of the world rulers, I've been up under their heels. Oh, God knows. Only God knows. They don't be believing me. It seems like it's in vain. And I've been talking and talking hours upon hours, thousands of videos, year after year, from 1992 all the way up to now, words twisted and discombobulated. And only those who want to take the time to rightly divide the word of truth care about me, whether they are here or there, huh? And know better because they rightly divide the word of truth. But those whose spiritual wickedness in high places and think they know something, uh, and all of those high authority figures with their big paychecks sitting back all lovey-dovey, like they rose to high powers without fault. Hmm? I pray for them. I pray that they be saved, and that they not left behind. Uh, I pray that they be born again. Uh, oh, some of them would have been better if they had just went ahead and killed themselves, drowned, tied a rope around their neck, and sunk to the bottom of the Indian Ocean and be right there waiting for the devil demon that they raising up out of that water to come on and get them right then. It would have been better. That's the Bible say that, not me. I'm not saying that. That ain't my own words. That stuff was written before I got here. The Lord, the Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel says to the one who is despised, rejected by mankind, and kept beneath the heel of the world's rulers, kings shall stand at attention when you pass. Princes shall bow low because the Lord has chosen you. He, the faithful Lord, the Holy One of Israel, chooses you. He chose you before the foundations of your mother's womb. He chose you before the word aboriginal, indigenous, black, African, Indian, Chinese, uh, Chinese, Japanese, French, France, Swedish, Norwegian, Bahamian, Jamaican, Mexican, Alaskan. Before all these names, there are you who were chosen to be written in the book of life and light. And it's some of you whose names are there and will be blotted out because you will make the wrong decision. or because you still have hatred and evil and wickedness, and you will not release yourself from the unnatural things. Yes, there are things that are unnatural. And somebody could talk about nature and then just use man's divisive words like nature when all is one nature. You are the rat, the cat, the dog, the tree in light, the door, everything that has a word. You are that. What is unnatural is the wickedness and evil that is used to pull the power of anything that is natural nature of God. Okay? Pass it on. Pass it on. Greater light, greater light. Let me play this song a little bit longer, and then I'm gonna get off of here and go make a video to it. I love this one. It took me 2 days to come up with this worship dance. Hura, mura, sura, tura, gura. Adonijah. Who are you? Who sent you? Yes, who sent you?
Huh?